People are really doing excellent shit for Black people and empowering the community and informing them and just putting themselves out there. Because just if any of this is true, like, should we fear for Nipsey's safety?
I was just about to say that, but I didn't want to look negative.
Nah, like, I'm just saying,
weren't we already? I was.
I'd keep it a buck. I think we about to enter a whole new generation of that shit.
But are we watching? I don't even try it with
Real
Nipsey.
shit.
We on to y'all.
And that's
he mysteriously gets a cold, we watching y'all.
Now, the media want to clown people, but you must understand. So people were justifiably worried that something could happen to Nipsey, and now people are justifiably questioning whether the government could be involved. The feds killed Nipsey. He was filming a documentary about Sebi. He had that store for 2 years. Nah, this got the government written all over it. He was going to expose them, so they got him first. Open your eyes, don't let them convince y'all a gang did this, because they didn't. This isn't a coincidence. Left Eye from TLC died in a car accident after trying to bring Dr. Sebi's name to light, and now Nipsey gets randomly shot 6 times in his own hood at his own store. Stay woke. Well, that's a fair point. Left Eye was talking about Dr. Sebi. Next thing you know, ain't no more Left Eye. So we're going to go ahead. They're going to tell us the facts that we need to know. Also believe Dr. Sebi's story was a powerful narrative. He said, I am working on doing a documentary on the trial in 1985. Dr. Sebi went to trial in New York because he put in the newspaper that he cured AIDS. He beat the case. Then he went to federal court the next day and he beat the case, but nobody talks about it. People want to talk about conspiracies and all this type of crap and say there's this psychosis, but something like that. Why isn't that major news? It's just internet news. This should be on Good Morning America, the cure for AIDS. How many times did they come to you talking about some you gonna donate for AIDS research? Trick joker. This man said he beat AIDS. Why don't you research what he got going on? Why don't you at least acknowledge what he got going on? Let's see. Because he beat the case, joker. In a normal world, that would be considered news everybody should hear. But it's not normal. Things are contrived. Media outlets are bought off and it's suppressed. Wait, what? You're looking weird. So you don't think the cure for AIDS is major news? Okay. You can't be helped, joker. You got problems. Let's keep it going. Dr. Sebi believed he found a cure for AIDS, cancer, diabetes, and blindness. Again, this should be major news. He's saying it's the foods that you eat, the water that you drink. It makes sense. If you eat the wrong type of foods, maybe your body is not going to perform correctly. But again, this is stuff that's not talked about on Good Morning America and The View. We don't. It's not really viewed like it should be. We just hear bull crap. Dr. Sebi proved in court that he cured AIDS, but no one cared. Pretty much. Freaking FDA, where you at? What are you doing? Oh, you approve sucralose. Oh, wow. Aspartame. Oh, wow. Bullcrap. There's speculation that the government had Dr. Sebi killed. Now, I don't know too much about that one. The man was 82 years old. Old as heck. But him in that jail, that was bullcrap. Dr. Sebi had numerous famous patients. We talking about Michael Jackson. We talking about that Lisa Left Eye Lopez. We talking about that John Travolta. And that Eddie Murphy. And they bring up a little good point here. Considering his high profile clients and winning in court that he had the cure to the world's most deadly diseases, it's a wonder as to why this court case didn't blow the minds of every journalist. That he wasn't honored with the Nobel Prize. Not even a dang monument. He just merely continued on in life until his arrest in Honduras. And now they call us the conspiracy theory connecting Dr. Sebi to Nipsey Hussle. Here goes somebody. Now, I don't know much about this Nipsey Hussle situation, but it's not a shocker to me that he got gunned down after he announces that he'll be doing a documentary on Dr. Sebi's death. SMH. He was going to be doing a documentary on Dr. Sebi's trial. The theories surrounding Dr. Sebi's arrest and eventual death stem from the fact that if his cure was correct, he would have bankrupted the medical community. As they say, there's no money in a cure, there's money in sickness. And if the answer/cure is merely living a strictly healthy lifestyle, that also kills the entire diet pill and exercise community. If Hussle's documentary caught fire like HBO's Leaving Neverland or Netflix Ted Bundy series, the medical community would have a lot of negative press and millions of wrongful death lawsuits. Medical company CEOs would likely be sent to prison, as well as many government officials. The fallout, if everything surrounding Dr. Sebi is indeed true, would be a watershed moment in history. That kind of sounds important. So they're going to continue on. They're going to say some fans think Nipsey Hussle was killed because of his documentary on Dr. Sebi, who claimed to find AIDS cure. They're going to tell you conspiracy theorists believe Nipsey Hussle was murdered over Dr. Sebi documentary. They call names. Why you got to call people conspiracy theorists, a government created term to demonize people who don't go along with whatever the government media say, the corporate media, who, when there's very important stories like, hey, there's a guy who has proved in court that he has the cure for AIDS, they don't talk about it. So you don't give a crap about us. I think that's what it is. You just only care about what your little career. People who are questioning this, they would like to call them conspiracy theorists and like to call them crazy. They would like to call them psychosis and all these different names they'll come up with or say they have psychosis. But no. Based upon the history of our government, and especially in LA, Los Angeles, you're justified. I'm here to make you aware, people who don't understand, that these people who are questioning this are justified. And, for example, there was a civil lawsuit that found the U.S. government guilty in the Martin Luther King assassination, 1999. For some reason, you didn't hear about this. And if you did, it was just like for maybe 2 seconds. That's right. James Earl Ray, You want to do the quotes, Coretta Scott King. Here's one from her. There is abundant evidence of a major high-level conspiracy in the assassination of my husband, Martin Luther King Jr. So there go your Black History quote right there. Every Black History Month, we should talk about that. Every Martin Luther King Day or Martin Luther King birthday, we should talk about that. The government, U.S. government being involved. Every time you pass down Martin Luther King Boulevard, you should remember, oh yeah, the government did that. So are you going to tell me that somebody's crazy because they are just repeating what happened in a lawsuit that found the U.S. government guilty? Are you going to call them crazy? Are you going to try to cover that up? If you would try to cover that up, that means you're working on behalf of the government, which would mean in situations like this, in assassination type situations, you can't be trusted with the information. So therefore, you sit back and you listen to the people, or you participate in actually doing what you're supposed to be doing, and that's breaking down what's actually happening. So I could really stop the video right there. That is major news. That is Good Morning America Good morning, every freaking state. That is news that could go on throughout the whole year. You thought the Russian investigation stuff was something to talk about. Oh, you think it's Trump doing this? No, that ain't it, Joker. So now, we go on to something like the Nipsey Hussle situation, which we have yet to receive more details. I'm sure we will. But the healthy speculation of who is behind it. Again, when we look in what happened in LA or what happens in LA, the government is still running their Cointelpro operation, more likely under a different name. For example, when you see people talking about the flat earth, that is government created disinfo to make people who question the government, or to make people who would bring up the lawsuit that found that the U.S. government was guilty in the King assassination, they would use that to then make it seem like people who bring that up are crazy. Because the flat earthers will also acknowledge that the King assassination was done by the government. And then instead of being ethical, they would then just prop up the flat earth people and put them on Discovery Channel and put them on Netflix and say, oh, these are conspiracy theorists. That's actually happening right now. They're doing that. So the point I was making is they're still doing the COINTELPRO program. And because your media, or the media that you see all the time, Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, and all those other people, corporate talking heads, they don't talk about this, but they always demonize people who do. So to service to you, just like Nipsey Hussle was doing a service to you by coming out with the Dr. Sebi documentary, I'm gonna make sure you're aware of this. And Pan-Africans, you're gonna love this. Y'all be doing a lot of fake woke stuff. That Kwanzaa stuff. You know, COINTELPRO person is behind that. Ron Karenga. This is the FBI joker, informant, tool of COINTELPRO, who led in the murder of Bunchy Carter and John Huggins and 2 more Black Panthers. Yeah, a government created holiday just to divide people. So you got to be aware of what the heck you're celebrating. But let's bring it back to Bunchy Carter. Let's bring it back to John Huggins. The FBI pointed with pride to the violence in the death of Black Panthers who were just standing up for their own people, standing up against police corruption, police brutality. That's the behavior of this government.
Huey and Eldridge Cleveland and those guys in Oakland. The world needs to know about Bunchy Carter.
It's a whole nother conversation about who Bunchy was.
He proclaimed himself Bunchy Carter, the renegade of Slauson.
There's no really books about him. You don't see him on T-shirts.
And here he was, some so-called nigga out to Slauson.
You know, he's like the unsung true hero of Los Angeles, California, the whole community.
Bunchy went to Oakland and met up with Huey and Bobby and David Hilliard, and they met Bunchy. They said, oh man, we got to have an LA chapter.
Initially, when Bunchy started it, most of the people involved, a lot of the people involved were Slauson. Bunchy, he had personality, charisma.
And I'm glad I had the pleasure to meet the people who knew him. The man next to the man, you know what I mean?
Bunchy was, man.
They said, no question, he was the smartest one, the bravest one, the baddest one.
His mannerisms was street. But his mind had been developed. He became political. We called him the mayor of the ghetto. He had a natural ability. He was a natural leader. A lot of the members in the gangs, he was able to bring them in, re-educate them, redirect them. We would have dances every Friday night. We might fill the place up, maybe a couple of hundred people in there partying, sweating, dancing. And right in the middle of it, we'd cut the music off. Bunchy'd jump up on the table, start talking for maybe 10 or 15 minutes. He'd run down some history, some facts, and, then, people be stunned. They'd be like, wow. And then throw the music on and he'd get to doing the Philly dog, and the party be back on, and you know, and then we'd come back that Monday, man, 10, 15 people lining up to join the Black Panther Party. That's the type of person he was.
He exemplified, you know, the leadership that we all needed. He had laid it down, and that's what we've been trying to follow for the years, to set an example so we wouldn't end up like the Bloods and Crips were. And it's not no gang or criminal mentality that we were trying to exemplify. This is not for you or your set, it was for your people.
It was a huge and big and rich time in history. We weren't, as the media and history would have us believe, a gang of hoodlums. I lived there. That was my life. I wasn't just some armed guerrilla intruded in on the community. That was my home.
I have some very sad news for all of you, and I think sad news for all of our fellow citizens. Martin Luther King was shot and was killed tonight in Memphis.
I don't really know who the leaders are. They're all dead. You know, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. It's like you can't be a leader for the black community if you're alive. It means you probably wasn't doing your job. In '65, most of your gangs segued into a political party. Like I mentioned, the Slawsons went into the Black Panther Party. But then the other gangs, they kind of identified more with a culture nationalist group called the US organization.
We have gotten our manhood back by the acts of violence. When the brother throws a brick or snipes from a building,
These guys had, you know, different philosophies. They didn't really, you know, get along with each other's philosophy. They didn't believe in with each other's what they were doing. Panthers are more about confrontation, you know, confronting the man. The US organization, from my understanding, was a little more abstract about, you know, their rage.
Well, I'm a little more aggressive. I can fight a little better. I'm a little stronger, so I'll go with punching them. And the guys who couldn't fight so well, the guys who wanted to be more jazzy, they went with Karinga.
Kinds of things that Maulana Karinga was saying in that first speech I heard clicked with me in terms of black people seizing their own destiny and to express that through political power, to seize political power through organizing and a self-affirmation of who black people were. Given that both organizations were had been recruiting strongly from gang structures, you can see the beginnings of some confrontations.
Karinga and all those people, that US organization, they were armchair revolutionaries.
Armchair revolutionaries.
As far as, you know, Bunchy and them were concerned.
Bunchy was a Slawson. You know, and a lot of it, again, is being acted out, or was being acted out at that point through a politicized environment.
So they kind of antagonized each other a little bit. They both were trying to jockey in for position in Los Angeles at that vital time.
At what point did the US declare Panthers, or did they ever declare Panthers as like enemies?
I don't ever remember there being that kind of formal war council where that was actually declared. As things escalated and as the body count escalated, it was clear that there was a serious competition going on. As everybody now knows, that was exacerbated by the intervention of the state, i.e. Cointelpro.
Vice President Agnew has called the Panthers a completely irresponsible, anarchistic group of criminals.
Hoover decided that for some reason the Panthers were the most dangerous organization in the United States, even more dangerous than the Communist Party or the Mafia. And so he ordered them essentially destroyed.
Directives issued by FBI headquarters called for, quote, imaginative and hard-hitting counterintelligence measures aimed at crippling the Black Panther Party.
The FBI set out to neutralize the Black Panther Party any way they could. They wanted to neutralize Bunchy Carter. He used the term neutralize, but nobody ever defined the term.
Neutralizing means a lot of things, including murdering. Neutralizing our entire movement.
As one communication went to Washington said, we bring these two groups together and let nature take its course.
It became clear that what they had to do was turn another organization against us, which was the Panthers.
Cointelpro was doing its mischief and attempting to pit the two organizations against each other. It got to the points where there was clearly almost a state of war that was existing between the two organizations.
We could all feel that there was something going on that was bigger than us.
The FBI had created this tension, but you had these two groups that when they saw each other on the street, it was just a natural confrontation. They were making all kinds of suggestions and writing letters, and they had cartoons made up showing Ron Karenga with his feet up on a desk and things like that, and marking off Bunchy Carter and John Huggins and things to do today.
Scratching them off the list.
These were cartoons that were created by FBI agents.
We didn't really know. Nobody believed that the FBI wanted to be bothered with some little Negroes in LA trying to organize themselves and so on and so forth. At the same time, they were sending the same stuff to them.
Correspondence propaganda between the two, between Bunchy and Karenga, telling one that the other one was doing something that wasn't appropriate.
Bunchy Carter and John Huggins were supposed to have been killed down in the Watts area working on some kind of a drug transaction. And, it would just looked like a drug deal, not a political assassination.
The day before that meeting, Bunchy and I went to the US headquarters and met with Ron Karenga and Jomo. Jomo was in charge of their military. We had an agreement that however the students voted,
Bunchy on the left, John on the right.
if they voted for cultural nationalism, the Panthers would support that. If they voted for revolutionary nationalism, us would support that.
Bunchy realized what was going down. He jumped over a row of chairs. He got shot through the chair.
Damn.
So the bullet expanded and hit his chest, expanded, and he died instantly.
January 17, 1969, Bunchy Carter was killed on the campus of UCLA. You know what I mean? And for some reason, the US organization kind of got the blame for it.
Somebody from the US would have served as the killer for that.
Right. As an instigator or what we would call, agent provocateur.
How did that all come about? Did they say, today we're killing Bunchy at UCLA? Was it like, today is the day we're going to kill Bunchy, but it's going to be at UCLA? We didn't get him that drug thing. Was it planned out, that structure? Or?
Well, as I understand it from the agent who was telling me about it, the operation at UCLA was all screwed up.
Incident at UCLA was manifested how, did you think?
By the FBI, but at the time, we were naive and we thought that it was just another move by the US organization.
There's a lot of what I call ghetto folk tales, you know what I mean? Some of it's true, some of it's not. Sometimes our own personal perspective kind of overshadows what really went on. I wanted to clear up what was really going on, before my time, I don't believe that Karenga was working for the FBI. He might have been manipulated by the FBI. I was comfortable in making Karenga the villain. And then I had to talk to Geronimo. He was like, nah.
For all of these years, the US organization has been getting a bum rap behind that killing. I'm sure Bunchy, above all, would be turning over in his grave if we were not to straighten this out.
Some kind of memorandum was uncovered from the FBI, which declared, though we did not pull the trigger on that day, January 1969, we did cause the unrest that preceded it.
When they killed Bunchy and John, the word came down that it was to be no retaliation, that we were not going to engage in that because that would defeat the very principles that we had started on, and that we were not going to get involved in blacks killing blacks.
And it was hard not to break his rules, because they took something away, man. They just snatched apart our heart. And not to, not to hit something back, not to attack back or move to deal, resolve that. It is still hard today, to talk about it.
Redsilverj, all I gotta say.